Hi, good evening, everybody. And thanks for the very detailed introduction on me. So you know my whole background, guys. Yeah. So starting from undergrad to everywhere. So good to see you all. And I think we have a little bit rejig in the order. So I'm speaking first, and I guess Mr. Sunil Mehta is stuck in the traffic, but he should be here shortly. So I'm sorry, I just showed up myself. I know some of you have been here in and out over the day, so I'm not fully aware as to how many of you have been all day here, parts of the day, but good to see all of you. So we've got a full evening ahead of us. You got me talking, then obviously if Mr. Mehta makes it, Mr. Mehta is the CEO of the Indian Banking Association, and has a great perspective on what's happening obviously across the banking sector and the economy, and obviously was a very senior banker before that. And really for me, he's a very personal favorite in terms of speaking. When he comes here, you will see he speaks always without any notes. So he can speak for half an hour without any paper on any topic, and it's very commendable. And besides that, obviously you've got my boss. So today I've got double pressure. My boss, Neeraj Sahai, he's the global head of our international business based out of the US. So we're lucky to have Neeraj here today as well. He leaves tonight for Hong Kong and Taiwan. So I got double pressure on me in terms of putting up a good show. So let me begin. And nothing like a good cutting chai from Bombay, so I've got that as well. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a sore throat, to bear with me. So, and I've got some prepared notes, so I'll refer to them as we go. But Dun & Bradstreet, for some of you who've been knowing us for a while or heard over the day, we've been here now for close to 3 decades or so. So we came into India after India opened up, so in India we are a little bit around 3 decades old. Obviously, it's a much older organization globally. So we have been around for close to 180 plus years. So it's a very old legacy firm, which is its foundings, I guess, when trading started in the US in a bigger way in Chicago, New York, and people wanted to keep data on each other. Are you going to be good to pay me when I sell you something? Are you going to be delivering goods on time and things of that kind? And in our coffee table books, we have this great story that 4 US presidents worked for Dun & Bradstreet, which is quite remarkable. And the one which beats my mind, and I keep telling colleagues, is that Abraham Lincoln worked for Dun & Bradstreet. And so I keep telling colleagues that if he were sitting here in this room maybe 160 years ago, maybe Abraham Lincoln would have been sitting here, which is quite a thought. So we came into India 3 decades ago, and since 1997, Dun & Bradstreet has been documenting the contributions of the Indian corporate sector through our flagship publication, the India's Top 500 Companies. And as all of us know, India has prospered, but at that point in time, it had just started the journey in terms of opening up and growing. So I'll share some numbers. In 1997, India's GDP was just about 14 trillion rupees. I'll take it in rupees. And since then, the GDP has grown nearly 20 times to where it is today in terms of, somewhere between $3 and $4 trillion in terms of looking at dollars. And that's a CAGR of around 12% or so. So that's quite remarkable that, I guess if we had that same CAGR from the 40s to the 90s, imagine what it would have done. We had a lot of lost time. But from late 90s, it's grown around 12%. The top revenue of the total revenue of the top 500 companies has increased 23 times, from 4 trillion rupees in 1997 to 91 trillion rupees in 2023. And that you would imagine is a little bit, the top companies obviously grow faster than the general economy. So that CAGR obviously is higher than that 12-13%. And all of us, I guess, from big companies here benefit from that scale and size. And then the last parameter, look at in terms of market capitalization. The top 500 have expanded to a total of, I've got it in trillion rupees, 208 trillion rupees, and that's a 42x on the 5 trillion which was in our first edition in 1997. So obviously GDP country has grown, bigger companies have grown further, and obviously as a market cap that's even grown further as well, just because that's how bigger companies have grown. Neeraj and I just came to hear from a meeting with the CFO of Reliance, Shrikant, who, like Neeraj and me, is also an ex-City banker, so that's why we know him well. And he puts it very simply. The numbers for Reliance are $100 billion top line, $20 billion EBITDA, $10 billion net. You can't get easier than that, right? 100, 20, 10. And that's the scale of businesses that I guess some of the top 500 companies which Dun & Bradstreet has been tracking have grown into. So, we believe our publication has established itself as a comprehensive compendium of the Indian corporate sector, and right from 1997, been a definitive ranking in this space. And obviously that's our way of paying tribute to the Indian corporate sector, highlighting the achievements of some of the nation's most successful businesses. And obviously over this time period there's been a paradigm shift happening in the business world, happening in India, but more so in the corporate world as well. Concepts as innovation, sustainability, resilience are becoming more center stage and pretty central to the whole idea of value creation. So this morning, I guess most of us woke up and saw the news, and Warren Buffett's comrade in arms, Charlie Munger, passed away, 99 years old, worth $2.6 billion. So not a bad way to go. You're worth a lot of money and you live till 99. So I was reminded of a quote of by Warren Buffett, who said, price is what you pay and value is what you get. And I guess Warren Buffett kind of credits Charlie with this whole thing. Warren Buffett was a guy who followed his professor from business school and bought businesses, I guess bankrupt businesses at low price. He was a pure value investor. And then, as he says, Charlie taught him to buy good companies at a fair price rather than what he did before, and that expanded Berkshire Hathaway. So I guess as Buffett says firmly, the focus is on value which businesses create, and that's what you pay for when you buy those businesses. I guess off late, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, I guess more recently what's happening around in the Middle East impacts all of us, and of course global inflation, and who knows, I guess central bankers now feel fairly comfortable. I guess that's you can see that in what's happening to the dollar and what's happening to yields as well, just this week and last week. But we hope people have got it under control. But that whole equation between interest rates and inflation seems to have also been quite different in this cycle than before. That obviously creates all these factors, really the significant events in terms of the recent past, making things a lot more volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous for large companies as they look at opportunities and expansion. And obviously the whole supply chain side, which Dun & Bradstreet does a lot of work on as well, is the China plus one, what's happening in China itself. We have a fairly large China business. Last night we were reviewing our international business, which China was on as well. And as I said, Neeraj is off to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong, the MC said I worked in UBS. I actually used to live in Hong Kong. I used to work for UBS based in Hong Kong. So I've seen it fairly closely. And those changes are quite interesting as to what's happening. Maybe just moving on quickly, obviously all that goes into the whole mix of value creation, and the points I talked about. So this year, Dun & Bradstreet, has further enriched the legacy of its annual listing by shifting focus to India top 500 value creators. So for the purpose of selecting top 500 value creators, we have considered the universe of companies that are listed on the BSE and NSE for the last 5 years, preceding 5 years. Companies, i.e. that were companies which were listed on March 19 and are still actively traded. These companies were measured against more than 25 parameters, which assess both market value and intrinsic value of the company. So let me kind of put out some of the facts, which some of you, the reason why you're here as the winners. These top 500 value creators represent 52 different sectors. in the last 5 years, i.e. fiscal 19 to 23, these value creators have created total shareholder returns, TSR, of rupees 107 trillion. So that's approximately, $1.2 trillion, generating an average TSR of 227%. So really outstanding, I guess, and what's been happening in the last 5 years in terms of value creation, which we all know, as compared to the NSE 50 benchmark return of 65% odd over the same period. In the same period, the aggregate total revenue of these top 500 companies have grown at 59%, and net profit has increased by more than 100%. So I think Neeraj and I were talking earlier in the day as well, I guess Neeraj left India maybe like 25, 26 years ago, and the investments he left behind have done far better than the investments you made in the Western world as well. So the Indian markets have been really kind of late in terms of returns, which is very nice. The market value of these top 500 companies stands at 208 trillion. So that's approximately $2.5 trillion. And I guess the big are getting better, big are getting bigger, K-shaped recovery, whoever knows. But that $2.5 trillion is approximately 80% of the aggregate market capitalization of the BSE. So even as a complete aside, when we look at our database, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with our database, we have this concept of the DUNS number, the unique identifier. I mean, nothing but maybe a simplistic way to say about an international Aadhaar, but somebody in Dun & Bradstreet thought of it maybe 5-6 decades ago very smartly, said, why don't we put a number on every entity? So we've been doing that for a long time, and we have 550 million entities which have got a DUNS number. So that's a very large number. The reason I'm giving that example now is out of that 550 million, you would imagine that a lot of them are either out of business, don't file. So approximately 270, 280 million don't file. So you got another 270 who file. Now I'm going to keep everybody awake a little bit as well. I've got the cutting chai, but you don't. So how many out of this 270 million companies are listed companies? How many listed companies in the world? I got prices as well, so anybody can guess. How many listed companies in the world? Any guesses? Somebody's got to give me some benchmark. Sorry? 100 million? 2 million? 200,000? 200 million out of 270. So the number of listed, thank you. The number of listed companies in the world are not more than 70,000 listed companies. So India has approximately 5,000 listed companies, out of which maybe really 3,000 really trade. So globally, India has got the second largest number of listed companies in the world after the US, and so there are only around 70,000 listed companies in the world, out of which maybe the ones who really trade are maybe 10,000 or so. So sobering thought to have that all your pension is in 10,000 companies in the world, which is a fact of life, right? So there are around 70,000 listed companies in the world, more than $100 million, around 800 crores. How many companies? So they're not more than 150,000 companies with more than $100 million turnover. Surprisingly, more than $5 million turnover, on 50 crores also, 40-50 crores, there are only 4 or 5 million companies in the world. The world is very much MSME, globally. So our business is very focused obviously on the big end, which is what we are talking about today. But on the world has got the same problems on MSME everywhere. The MSMEs in the US have the same problem in terms of getting financing. The guys in Europe, Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, India. So the big world is very concentrated. And that's why this $2.5 trillion is really in these top companies, which is 80-85% of the market cap. So, and obviously, as Srikanth said earlier, 100 billion, 20 billion and 10 billion. I mean, these companies contribute 60% of the tax which the government collects as well. And as you'd imagine that, all these companies have outperformed on all parameters of value creation, business productivity, business resiliency and sustainability. Efficient business processes obviously build productivity. Building sustainable practices, more so in today's world, is leading to a superior output, superior valuation. You know, there are numerous studies by everybody, including ourselves, which I don't know if Arun talked about earlier in the day, that, you know, companies who have better practices around ESG and sustainability obviously get rewarded better in terms of market perception, market valuation, and more so also in terms of the cost of money as well. And obviously in today's world with building resilience, I mean, we all went through COVID-19 and survived, and obviously building that is part of everybody's mantra, which is where a lot of our data gets incrementally used up. So maybe I'll close just by talking a little bit about our own kind of bit where we are trying to help large companies do better. I mean, we endeavor to be the trusted business partner through our data, through our analytics, through our insights, to be able to create value together with you. And you know, we've been doing it for approximately 3 decades or so now, and we hope we can do it for many more decades to come. And you know, all our products and services, and there was a kind of thing rolling up front in terms of our products and services when we walked in, are really focused on helping you, making your business more efficient, more productive, more resilient, and more sustainable. So you know, we've got products which feed off our data, which help you grow your business. And I guess for all of us who are listed and have aspirations of becoming bigger, it's all about growth. And you know, growth comes from targeting right markets, right customer sets, getting the right channels to be able to reach out to those customers. And our data and services help you identify these markets, customer segments, and you know, enable business productivity. Our API-based offerings help in automating and integrating supply chain and customer credit insights, and obviously building on the efficiencies for businesses. Similarly, all businesses need to identify and manage risk, thereby increase business resilience and drive business performance. I touched upon our supply risk management solutions and risk analytics assist clients in supply chain resilience by providing supplier-specific insights for supplier risk and performance monitoring. And we're seeing a larger uptake of that. I met the RPG Life Sciences CEO just now in pharmaceutical, chemicals, you know, industries which obviously were always global and are very much, the supply chain is very much linked, need all this stuff. Similarly, our finance analytics solutions can offer resilience through robust customer management, evaluating credit risk, and monitor delinquencies. As part of our tour through India with Neeraj, we met with some of the IT businesses, IT services businesses, increasingly obviously worried about what's happening in the world and what's happening on the customer side as well. Sustainability, you know, we are one of the pioneers and leaders in ESG related solutions. I talked about risk essentials in helping clients, you know, do the ESG assessment for the suppliers and third parties. And I touched upon the whole solutioning which we provide to MSMEs, and we have unique solutions for MSMEs to get some kind of ESG certification which helps them deal with the larger clients like yourselves. So we are seeing a lot of interest from some of the people who want to build India out into a bigger export market, the Walmarts of the world, who really would like some of these solutions in the entire supply chain. So before my throat gives up, I'll close. So that, you know, you know, I can go on and talk about DNB a lot, but this evening is about you and the contribution, you know, you all have created to the Indian economy. So I take this opportunity to congratulate all the companies that are featured in India's Top 500 Value Creators publication of 2023, as well as the award winners. I look forward to having a great evening and learning from all of you. Thank you so much.